Millions of innocent citizens is becoming some sort of pastime in Nigeria. In Oyo State, a hotelier in Ogbomoso, Olugbenga Owolabi, and the students of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, LAUTECH, also in Ogbomoso, Rachel Okpadele, who were adopted last week, have been killed by their abductors, despite payments of 5 million naira ransom. The motorcycle rider who conveyed a family member to the designated area for ransom payments was also killed, while his passenger was injured. In Akwa Ibom, Justice Basi Unanga of the State High Court has sentenced Uduak Akpan to death by hanging for the murder of Inuobong Umare, a graduate of philosophy at the University of Uyo in April 2021. In the more than 2 hours judgment, the judge said the prosecution proved beyond doubt the case of rape and murder against Akpan. After the judge read out the judgment, the convicted rapist attempted to escape from the courtroom but was overpowered by security officials. Let's share the video of the attempted escape with you.
Take your camera. My friend, will you get up from my face? Will you get up from my face? Will you stop that nonsense?
All right, gentlemen, we have two sad stories there. First is the hotelier and the LAUTECH students who have both been killed despite payment of ransom. BKO, this is becoming a trend gradually.
Yes, you see, when you get kidnapped, the reason you have to do your best to not get kidnapped is sometimes even when you pay ransom, they still take your life. There was this man in Kogi State, a businessman, who was kidnapped while traveling somewhere around Mopa. He was taken into the forest. They got ransom from his relations, and after that, his relations were told to go and pick up his corpse somewhere in the forest. By the time they got there, the body had decomposed rapidly. You can imagine the agony when people, they told you, okay, his corpse is, go and pick up your guy somewhere. After you paid ransom, you are expecting to see him alive and well. But it was the remains that the guy saw. So it's common for this sort of thing to happen. There was another incident, a woman, I think the woman she didn't have access to appeals, and then he died. The next thing, they just came, dropped her corpse in an hospital and phoned her relations to go there and pick up her remains. There are so many examples of that. Some of the people that they kidnap are people who must use their drugs every time. That is, if someone related to a friend of mine who was permanently on drugs to manage his diabetes, his ailment, diabetes. Once he was kidnapped, my friend raised the alarm that if we can't get this guy out within 3 days, he could be dead. By the third day, when they finally arranged to give ransom, because they had to look for money, they saw, just after they left the forest, that they had dropped his remains by the side of the road. So these things happen. It just takes being unlucky for this sort of thing to happen. Like this boy now, who was deceiving people that he was going to give them jobs and all that. And then a beautiful girl came. You then had carnal knowledge of her. And he felt that, look, this girl will eventually implicate me. The next thing, he took her life and started lying. You confessed to journalists that you killed her, only to come and say, oh, it was because I did it in self-defense. They seem to think that a judge will believe any stupid story that they tell the judge. No. So it's just unfortunate that these things happen. We have to defeat insecurity in our country. We have to defeat this kidnapping for ransom because it keeps taking victims. On the north, on the south, every part of our country, kidnapping has become the most dominant piece of business, and lives are being taken as a result. So that's the more reason that government has to come up with the right approach to defeat this serious scourge.
Larry, involved in this case is a student who is supposed to be in school, but maybe decided to go and work, so she does not just have to sit at home doing nothing. How much more of this do we have to deal with?
Well, you see, either a student, a trader, or whatever, anybody who is a victim of this kind of thing is a sad story. I sympathize with the parents of that girl. One cannot say she's a victim of the ongoing strike because what will be, will be. I'm a believer in that. However, the problem is the fact that we still have a situation where people will kidnap, demand ransom, and kill. It's a huge one. And in most cases, when you have people being kidnapped by criminals who probably fear that they are known to the victims.
Most times.
When you have such situation, the most possible outcome is death. Because if the kidnapper realizes, oh, one of these people know me, he won't let any one of them go. It's just like you running into a thief who is harmed while he's carrying out his business. He won't let you go if he realizes that you'll be able to identify him in public and you may probably give him away. So it's unfortunate. Then one of them is somebody who, from what I read, is based abroad, decided to come and establish business here. And now, just for 5 million, his life has been taken. A lot of people are employed in that hotel. They will soon become jobless. And then, these are some of the effects of what these criminalities going all around us are having on our country. And we just need to defeat it. The earlier we defeat all these criminalities, the better for all of us. Lives are being lost. Businesses are being crippled. Nigerians in diaspora are daily being told to stay where they are.
Yes.
And this, our country needs help. Yet, our own nationals abroad, we are, by our acts, by the actions of these criminals, we are telling them, stay where you are. How will investors now come? These are the effects of all these problems, and they are huge. That's the truth. They are huge.
All right, gentlemen. Now, one of the reasons for this judgment is deterrence. How long can this go in deterring others from crime like this?
We can truly discourage people from committing some of these crimes when our governors shed their toga of cowardice. A lot of the governors that make all the noise, we see them, they can say all kinds of things. They can't sign a death warrant. The judge has done his job, but to sign the warrant, they can't. So you see that clearly in terms of courage, they don't have it. I've told the story before of George Walker Bush, former US president. He was governor of Texas. And a woman who had murdered the boyfriend with an ice pick stabbed the boyfriend more than a dozen times with an ice pick. Sentenced to death. The death warrant came to George W. Bush. Before then, the woman became born again in prison, and Pope John Paul II was alerted to her activities in prison. So across the world, there was pressure that they should not kill her since she had become a changed man. And here was George W. Bush, governor of Texas. They brought the death warrant to him to sign. Despite the pressure, the global pressure from even the Pope, George W. Bush signed. And I remember those famous words that he said, "May the Lord have mercy on her soul." That was where it ended. They took her life. Our own people to sign. We have a lot of people who had been sentenced to death. They are languishing in prisons.
Taking space.
Let them go and face another judgment with their maker so that we can create space for a lot of these other criminals. So what is the thing? You've got, so what, ultimately, if you will not take their lives after they have been sentenced to death, where is the deterrence? If we want to say, okay, we are canceling death penalty, we become like South Africa, that the worst punishment is death, life imprisonment. Let's do it. But if we still have it in our statute books, for God's sake, let these guys face the full weight of the law. I'm happy the governor of Kano State said he will sign the death warrant for that school proprietor with alacrity. I hope that the old man will live up to his promise. I'm really, really waiting because we just have to begin to sign this warrant. I think it was Oshomole that was said to have done it the last time. Yeah. Others will find one reason to not sign. I don't get it.
All right, Darren, quickly before we...
Yeah, we have discussed this before, and I remember was it BK or someone else here saying maybe we should, as part of the campaign promises of governors, we should ask the question directly. If someone is convicted in your state, will you sign the death warrant? And we should only vote for people who will be courageous enough. Because aside from serving as deterrent, really, it will also help to reduce congestion. Our prisons are congested, and majority of them are people who are on death row. Many of them are on death row. They've been condemned. These are the kind of people that criminals storm prisons to free. If they have stayed there 5 years, 10 years, they still have hope.
Of course. Look at even
during the
NSAS riot, one of the guys who was sentenced to death, remember what he did? I think Delta State. Yeah. He went straight to go and kill the person who testified against
after escaping from prison.
Yes.
You see? So if they still have hope after getting the sentence, then what's the use? Wasting state resources to sentence them, only to further waste state resources to feed them for the rest of their life.
All right.